Hey folks, I know it's been a while since the last LP. Things have been happening, basically. It's been pretty busy lately, but anyway, welcome to Dark Souls. This is a fantasy action RPG thingy that's renowned for being rather difficult, and so there will be failure abound. Although I am pretty familiar with this game, this is actually one of my favorite games of all time. It's very, very good, and the main thing I like about it is not necessarily the difficulty, but more the way things work. Like, there's so many different ways you can play through the game, there's so many different ways of going about it, so many different playstyles. It's very, very well done, and there's a lot of replayability to it and all that. So, before I get started though, I just want to say this is on the Xbox One through backwards compatibility, and one thing about the Xbox One controller, the buttons are really clicky. I don't know if you can hear that. You probably can, unfortunately. Yeah, in particular, the bumpers are very clicky, so, and this game uses the bumpers a lot. So I will try to mitigate the button clickiness as much as possible, but there may be some. But anyway, let's make a start on things here. So, brightness, we don't care. All this stuff seems fine. Now then, the important thing to start with, our character. I'm gonna give him a name, and it's just gonna be LP for Let's Play, because that's all I got. Sex does not matter. Now, class. This is a relatively important one. So, there's all these different ones, and you can see the stats there on the left. They do reflect what class you pick. But I will say, the starting class isn't too important, because like, you can sort of change any class into any class. Like, we could pick a sorcerer and turn into like a high-strength warrior or something if we wanted to. Because that's one good thing about this is there's no level cap per se in this game. Just once you get every stat up to 99, then that's that. But the class I decided I want to go with here is the Cleric. Cleric was the first class I ever played in this game, because I like the sound of healing and stuff. That's what the Clerics do. They're based on faith, as you can see. That's their highest stat there. Yeah, and they have miracles, which are mainly for like healing and stuff, but they can do other things as well. Like, there are offensive miracles as well. Now, for our gift, there's one and only one that you should pick, and that is the Master Key. There are some other decent ones here, like, I mean, the Black Firebomb you can use to get, like, a weapon earlier that you shouldn't be able to necessarily, but, not a big deal. There's some other ones, like, I think all of these you can get later on in the game, except the pendant. I don't think you can get the pendant, but it does literally nothing anyway, so. But yeah, for almost every situation you want to take the Master Key. Only situation where you wouldn't want to take the Master Key is if you're playing as the Thief class, because that actually starts with the Master Key. Physique, whatever. Face, whatever. I'm not really fussed. That one's always a good one. Just go with the basic. These RPGs, they love their ridiculous character customization, but you know, it's not a big deal. Yeah, that'll do. But of course we've got to have like a ridiculous hair color. I know there's a way to change it somehow. I can't remember how. Color. Can we do that? I swear you can. Here we go. Yeah. I'm gonna give him something ridiculous. How about a nice green? Can we make it like... Yeah! There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Perfect. Flawless. Yeah, so that'll do it. And now we begin the story.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog.
Props to the voice actor on this one.
A land of grey crags,
spooky voice,
arched trees, and everlasting dragons.
They do a good job making it mysterious.
But then there was fire, and with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death. And of course, light and dark.
Gonna be honest, I've never really gotten into the story in this series, to be honest. Like, I'm not saying it's bad, but I have trouble following it sometimes, and I'll get more about it, I'll get more into it later. But, like, the main plot of the game I do find kind of hard to follow. Could be just me being dumb, but you know. Anyway, here's some important characters. It's a creepy skull guy called Nito.
The Witch of Asylum and her daughters of Chaos.
And a witch lady.
Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight.
And a king dude.
And his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of lords, they challenge the dragons.
Of course there's dragons, why wouldn't there be?
Gwyn's mighty bolts peeled apart their stone scales. The witches weaved great firestorms. Nito
I've got to go for the cinematic flair, of course, in this.
The scales betrayed his own, and the dragons were no more.
Sure, why not?
Thus began the Age of Fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers, and man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark side.
Which does something. And so after that kind of vague intro, here we are.
Yes, indeed. The dark side brands the undead. And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north. Where they are locked away to await the end of the world. This is your fate.
Yep, that's us. So we're apparently undead. Although I think the term in this game is hollowed or something. And yeah, we're not looking so good. Neither is that guy, to be fair. And a fellow's helping us out. And so we begin in the Northern Undead Asylum. This is just like the opening area of the game. Anyway, this guy dropped a key for us. Don't know why he had to drop the body, but he did. So, HUD stuff. You'll see the 00 in the top left corner. We'll get into that later. Health, stamina. You see if we roll around, the stamina goes down. And we do have 5 uses of heal there. We'll get into that later as well. And we do have a crappy weapon in our right hand. Anyway, open up this here door. and roll along. Here's the game's tutorials. You have these little messages on the ground, and they just tell you how controls work. So yeah, right bumper to fight things, like this guy. There you go, he's dead. And then RT is your strong attack, which I honestly don't use that often, but there are some weapons where it can be useful to have the strong attack. But for the most part, I don't use it that often, but it depends on the weapon. Now if we hold down the B button, we can run, which is something I'm going to be doing a lot of, trust me. Now, right stick is your target lock, so we can lock onto people with that, which you should be doing all the time. If you're not, you're doing something horribly wrong. Your head, as you can see, as we're killing enemies, we're getting those souls in the bottom right. They are used to like buy things and level up and stuff. And every single enemy drops them. Oh, I missed a thing. Yeah, this is a bonfire. Kind of call these like checkpoints or save points. Basically, when you rest at them, all of the enemies that you kill will come back to life. But if you die, you will respawn at this bonfire. So they're important to know. They're important to get to, because you know you don't want to die a million miles away. So our only option is to go through this here door. And this is quite a shock if you played the game for the first time. Because there is a dude who we can't see up above somewhere. If we just run ahead. There he is, there's a big guy. We're just gonna ignore him. Because there's no way we can fight him with this crappy little thing. Ooh, he is mad, isn't he? Anyway, the game gives us another bonfire for some reason. Not even gonna rest at it, who cares? And now we'll die, imagine that. So, get your shield, the game says. Go in here. And here we have a shield. So, what shield you get here is dependent on your starting class. So here the game's telling us how to do things. So, go into the pause menu. The game does not pause while you're in the menus, something to keep in mind. So go to our equipment. Now, this is probably going to look a bit confusing to someone who hasn't played this before, but basically, shields go in the left hand. So there, we've got that equipped there. And you can see there are two other slots there. Basically, if you press right or left on the D-pad, you'll change what's in your left or right hand, and you can have two things equipped. So, like, you might want to have a bow here, or, like, a sorcerer staff there, or something, up to you. Anyway, so we've got our shield now, and you can hold down left bumper, not left trigger. I see new players get this confused and think that left trigger, which is a parry, is your block. It's not. It's left bumper. So, now we can block these arrows. Like so. The guy usually runs away. He didn't on this occasion. What are you doing? Wow, this guy... You know what? I think we need to do this. Yeah, we get a mace. He's still mad at us. Now, if we're quick... There we go. No problem. Knock it off. So, now we have a real weapon, which is good. A weapon that can actually damage things. And again, the mace is something we got because we picked the cleric class. Now, here we have some white light. This usually denotes like a boss or a new section of the area you're in. In this case, it's just moving on to a new section. There's the bonfire we were at down there. Now, rolling is quite important. We do have backstepping as well, which I don't really use that often, but it can be useful in some situations. Like, you can attack out of it as well, like that. But rolling is much, much more important. Like, you want to be dodging attacks, because blocking is good, but it's better to dodge it outright rather than block it. Now, if we head down these stairs here, we've opened a shortcut for us. We could have tried to get through this door earlier, but we would not have had success because it's locked from the other side. Now, we head up here, a thing happens. Aren't you glad I've played this before? Come in here and talk to a dude.
You're no Hollow. Hmm?
I don't think so.
Thank goodness. I'm done for.
I think Hollow is meant to be like
Then
madness.
leave
I don't know,
my
something like
sanity.
that.
I wish to ask something of you. You and I were both undead. Hear me out, will you?
Oh, fine.
Regrettably, I have failed in my mission. But perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family. Thou who art undead art chosen. And thine exodus from the undead asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know. Well, now you know. And I
Sounds
can
like a
die
quest
with
to
hope in
me.
my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus Flask. An undead favorite.
Now, these are super important.
Oh, and this.
That is also kind of important.
Now I must bid farewell. I would hate to harm you after death. So go now, and thank you.
Oh, also, this was the guy who gave us the key to get out of our cell. Anyway, so, now we have Estus Flasks. These are the bread and butter of healing in this game, if you like. So at the moment we have 5 of them. If you want to use them, you press X, and it'll use the item that's equipped on this slot here. If we go into our menu, we can see, yeah, this is where they live. They live in this, like, hotbar. And when we have different items, we'll be able to swap to them and use them with the X button as well. For now, only have the Estus Flask, and that's what we'll be having equipped there for most of the game, pretty much. Yeah, and so at the moment we can only have 5 Estus Flasks, and once we run out of charges, we can't use them anymore, but if you rest at a bonfire, you can get them back. But for now, we head up here. That guy dies, by the way. And here's the dude that rolled the boulder at us. He's dead now. Open up this, so yeah, we needed to talk to him because he had the key for us. Now, building your right weapon two-handed. This is something that's pretty useful. And kicking and jumping, I'll get into that in a moment. So, right-handing. You do this. Now we have the shield on our back. So, you can block with your weapon, but that's a really bad idea and you shouldn't do it. But what two-handing your weapon does is it actually adds a bit more damage. So, I kind of like to do it where I'll just attack normally, and if I want to do a little bit of extra damage, I'll quickly swap over like that. It's like, you block something, swap, attack. That's kind of what I call the heavy attack, instead of the actual heavy attack. Like, that probably didn't make any sense the way I worded that, but basically, I think it's good to two-hand. Whenever you can sneak it in, it's a good idea to do it. Now, we just got a talisman. Gonna go ahead and put that right here. So what this talisman does is it lets us use what miracles we've got equipped. Currently we have heal, and this is how we use it. If we need to heal up, we can use this as well. So now we have 2 methods of healing. We've got the usual Estus Flask, which every character gets. And we've got the heal, which is something only clerics can use, or somebody who's faith-based can use. Get out of here, buddy. There you go. You with your arrows. Stop it. Alright. Now, some more messages. Yup, this game tells us how to use them, which I have reasonably explained. Plunging attack, that'll be important in a second, but if we go through here... So, behind an enemy, critical hit. Nobody calls them that, they call backstabs, okay? Basically, if you walk up behind someone, you can do a backstab, which just does a ton of damage. The other thing is parrying, which I will attempt to do here. Basically, yeah, you can press left trigger to do this, and then you can riposte with RB afterwards. Let's try it on this fella. Hey, you. There we go, first try, no problem. And he is very, very dead. Okay. So, through here is a boss. And just to show it off, I'm going to heal up the tiny, tiny amount of damage we took. Yay. So, with regards to miracles, it's a good idea to use healing ones outside of battles, because Estus Flasks are much quicker. But anyway, let's go in. Yeah, remember the guy before? Here he is. We're going to plunging attack him. Pwah! There goes half his health. Now then, he's got some moves. Just let him do some stuff. Watch out for that. Whack him a bit. Pretty straightforward, to be honest. doing much at this point. Yeah, you can see the big damage increase there when I two-hand it, so it is better to two-hand when you can. There we go, didn't even hit us. And we defeated. I don't like that it says you defeated. It used to say victory achieved, which I think was much cooler. But then they changed it to you defeated, and it doesn't even make sense. But anyway, we can go through here now, and we got 2,000 souls, which is a fair bit to start out with. And the game's all, hey, you did it! Anyway, run straight ahead. There's a thing over there somewhere that's important for later, but we'll worry about that later. Head up onto this here cliff, and a thing happens again.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen.
There's a bird for some reason.
To leave the undead asylum in pilgrimage
Isn't that convenient? Just showed up right when we showed up.
to the land of the ancient lords. Lordran.
Good name. Here's a sneak preview of some of the places in the game, by the way. Anyway, we end up here. So why did that bird come and take us away? I don't know, just kinda did. It's apparently important. Anyway, here we are at Firelink Shrine. This is like the main hub of the game, if you like. We'll be coming back here a lot. Anyway, for now, we rest at this bonfire. One thing to notice is our Estus Flasks went up to 10. Now the reason for that is, you can kindle bonfires. And every bonfire starts at giving you 5 Estus Flasks. This one starts at 10 for whatever reason. But later you'll be able to get it up to 20. And the way you kindle things is you have to be human, so you first have to use humanity to reverse hollowing, then you have to use more humanity to kindle it. It's a process. Anyway, we'll start by leveling up. Now, something I'm going to do straight away, get my dexterity up to 10. We're going to need that in a minute. And what else? We could get attunement up. As you can see over on the side there, our attunement slots go up, but not a big deal. Faith maybe? Yeah, we'll get faith up to 15. So I should explain each of these stats. Now if we could hit back, the game actually gives us a decent explanation. So this is our soul level, is what the game calls it, soul level. Each time you level up a stat, your level will go up by 1. Amount of souls, and then the required souls you need. So vitality determines your health. Pretty straightforward. Attunement is attunement slots, which is basically what you can use for like sorceries, miracles, pyromancies, etc. Endurance determines your stamina, and equip load. I'll get into that in a little bit. Strength is for strength-based weapons, dex is for dex-based weapons. Resistance is basically useless, and no one in their right mind would really want to level it up because you boost defense. It's not a big deal. Intelligence is for sorceries, faith is for miracles, and then there's humanity, which again I'll get to in a little bit. And then you have all these, like, there's a whole bunch of numbers. I'm not going to read every single one of them. Anyway, we will accept this. There we go. Oh yeah, I should mention I am playing online, by the way, so you can see other people sometimes, and there may be invasions later, and it'll be hilarious.
Well,
here's a guy.
What do we have here? You must be a new arrival.
Why, yes I am.
Let me guess. Fate of the undead, right? Well, you're not the first, but there's no salvation here. You'd have done better to rot in the undead asylum. But too late.
Nah, it'll all work.
Well, since you're here, let me help you out. There are, actually, 2 bells of awakening.
He's right, you know.
One's up above in the Undead Church. The other is far, far below, in the ruins at the base of Blight Tower.
One of these is far scarier than the other.
And something happened. Brilliant, right? Not much to go on. but I have a feeling that won't stop you. So, off you go. It is why you came, isn't it? To this accursed land of the undead?
Not very encouraging, that guy. So anyway, since this is the hub area, there's quite a few things to pick up and pillage, so let's get to it. I'm trying to remember where all these said things are. I think there's something down this way. Yep. Some fire bombs. They are like little bombs you can throw, and they light things on fire and explode. They're not that useful, but we've got them. And here's a dude, he's pretty important to what we've got in mind.
Hello there. I believe we are not acquainted. I am Petrus of Thurland. Have you business with us? If not, I'd prefer to keep a distance, if possible.
And you're like, what? That's it? But no, talk to him again.
Hello there. I realize that I have requested that we retain our distance. But I also want you to know that it is not meant in ill will. Here, take this, as a token of peace. No, go ahead. It's for you.
It's a coin! I'm pretty sure it does literally nothing, but there you go.
Oh my, you again. Oh, I know. How about this? I have to await my companions here anyway. So what if I were to teach you some miracles?
Why, yes, that would be good.
Would that please you?
Yes, yes it would.
Very well. Then first, a covenant with the gods.
So, since we start as a cleric, we already belong to this particular covenant for some reason.
Now, let me share my miracles. Only their
Covenants are
ultimate
kind of like
effectiveness will be determined
factions?
by
I don't
your
know, hard to
efforts
say how to describe
and
them,
your
but
faith.
they give you bonuses if you join them and stuff. Anyway, learn a gesture for some reason. Now, he's got some things. Some of these we would like. Particularly Homeward is pretty useful, Force is okay as well, but of course we can't buy any of them yet. Yep, okay. And then, these two talismans are actually not very good. The one we start with is better, I believe. The main thing you want to look at, I know there's a lot of numbers again, the main thing you want to look at there is the magic adjust. As we can see, the Thurland talisman is much better than that one. Then you can go into, like, descriptions, but anyway, I believe the one we have is better.
Come again.
Yeah. Let me have a look at that, actually. 124, well, maybe not. Maybe I'm crazy. Doesn't matter. We can probably buy that later if we need to. But yet, there's more things to do. There is something up here, I believe, yes. Soul of a Lost Undead. So items like that, basically you use them, you get a certain amount of souls. Now you might not think that's all that exciting, but the reason that's important is because if you die, you have a chance of losing all the souls you've got on you. And having an item like this, it basically lets you use it whenever you want. So you can just have an extra however many souls at any time. Maybe you're a tiny bit off of buying something, maybe you're a tiny bit off of leveling up, then that's pretty useful. Morning Star and Talisman, and some Homeward Bones. Homeward Bones are pretty useful. Basically they let you return to the last bonfire you rested at. So that is something we'll probably be making for a fair bit of use of in this playthrough. Lloyd's Talisman, they stop people from using Estus Flasks. I basically never use those things. Now, this graveyard is not a place we want to be, so let's go. We may or may not be coming back there later. Up here is an item, I believe, though I worry those skeletons may be following us. Is it over here? Yes. What do we win? Soul of a Lost Undead, hooray. Drop back down here. Hey, I heard that. Rest here again just to get rid of those guys. Alright, why don't we sort out this hotbar? We've got a whole bunch of things we don't want. Put those on there. So, humanity. I should explain what that does. So, it adds 1 humanity to your humanity bar, essentially. You see that 0, that I mentioned before? Basically, that is how much humanity we have on us. If we add 1 to it, then we can, like, rest here at the bonfire to, make ourselves turn to human. and then we can do other things with that. Being human adds a lot of online stuff, like you can do co-op, and you can get invaded for like PvP stuff. So there's a whole lot of interesting things to being human. Here's a person who can't talk. She can reinforce our Estus Flask, but we don't have a Firekeeper soul for that yet. But for now, there is something I want to do that I would not suggest you do at the start of the game, but I'm going to do it anyway because I'm an idiot. And that is we're going to go and get a couple things that we shouldn't have access to yet. So here's an elevator. This will take us to a new area, which, again, we probably shouldn't be going to at the start of the game, but it's here, so we can, and we will. Where's the door? Here it is. Now, we just drop down here. Here's a dude just hanging out. These guys aren't going to hurt us, so I don't see any reason to hurt them. So here's the new Londo Ruins. This starting area is fine, but don't go much further than that, because it's a bad idea. Now there's a couple items here we can get. Here's an S-Dock. It's like a thrusting sword. I don't think I've ever actually used it, but it is dex-based. I am planning to go for a sort of dex-based cleric in this playthrough, by the way. Because, I've done strength-based. Strength-based cleric was my first playthrough, and I think I have done dex-based before, but it's pretty interesting. There's some cool dex-based weapons you can get. If we head over here, don't go too far, because the stairs just kind of end. There's a dude in a cell.
Well, this is unusual. You haven't lost your head. And more importantly, you're free. How on earth? Well, I shouldn't pry. I'm Ricky of Vinheim. I was once an established smith, though. Look at me now. Can you believe it?
Kinda can, actually, considering this game.
What is it? Have you? Oh no. Don't worry. I've no intention of escaping. It's safe here. I can't bear the thought of going hollow out there. Although, I must admit, I've not much to occupy myself. How about this? I could forge your weapons, albeit with rather minimal tools. I'll show you what made me the best in Vinheim.
So this guy is actually a blacksmith. You can reinforce things. However, to do so you need Titanite shards, which we do not have yet. I think he sells them. No, I was wrong. He doesn't sell them. He does, however, sell some sorceries. But again, we're not really focusing on sorcery, but if you are, this could be useful to you. But it isn't to us. He could also repair things, which we might as well. Yeah, that'll do it, I think. Modify is a different thing entirely, and we'll get to that when we get to it. But for now, we'll just leave.
Goodbye then. Keep your head on out there.
Yeah. But anyway, the way we actually want to go is over here. Now, since we have the master key, we can get through here. To the Valley of Drakes. There's actually not much in this area. It's like a complete side area. You never have to actually go here at any point. There isn't a boss in it or anything here either. It's just a tiny little section all to itself. Have I gone the wrong way? I can barely see, to be honest. No, I think this is right. Yeah. Now, there's a kind of scary looking thing over there. But, for now, we're going to ignore it. There's some items there. Pro tip, do not pick them up. Or at least not yet. You pick them up, that guy gets real mad, so don't do it. But we will be getting them in a little bit, just not right now. Now, as we continue on here, you can see a little dragon dude. Basically, where we want to get to is there's like a little sort of tower thing over there. That's where we want to get. And it is doable. We're going to have to run past these fellas, though. Excuse me, sir. Thank you. Hey. Ooh! Okay, we lived. Yeah, there's gonna be a fair bit of running. He missed. Hello. Hey guys, Coming through. There's the ladder, there it is. Up we go now. We'll get hit on the way up and we should be good. Alright, and here we have a ring. This is a pretty useful one. This is the red tearstone ring. What this does is it boosts our attack when our health is low, which is pretty nice, and it's a pretty significant boost as well. So there are some situations where being low on health can be useful. This ring is an example of one of them. But we probably don't want to go back down the way we came. That's probably a really bad idea, so this is a good time for a homeward bone. And yeah, this will take us back to Firelink Shrine. Like so. Now, there are a couple more things I'd like to do before we wrap up here. If we head back down, we're gonna go and pick up those, some of those items I missed. So I'll head that way. Alright, now one of these is particularly important to us. Unfortunately, I don't remember which one it is. So I'm gonna have to hope that I pick the right one. I think we can pick up both of these pretty quickly. But yeah, the second we take these items, he's gonna get mad and probably kill us instantly. So let's just grab these. Oh, he's mad already. Okay, we got it. We got the one I was after. And then we died. Yeah, that guy is tough. Now that he's awake, he'll stay awake. So that's why we wanted to pick them up after we got the red tearstone ring. But, so we got Astora's straight sword. This is something we want to be using. So here we can see that it does less physical damage. The number's red, so that means it does less. It's honestly not that much less anyway. Does slightly less physical damage, but it does have added magical damage. As we can see down there, auxiliary effects. There's the 120 next to the white circle. That means it does divine damage. And that's going to be important for a little bit later on. Now what else is there to talk about? There's also, you see the parameter bonuses. That's essentially how the weapon scales based on each stat there. So we can see it scales on strength, dexterity, and faith. And they're all C rank, which means they're pretty straightforward. They're going to do average bonuses to them. Basically, the higher the letter, the more it's going to do, with S rank being the best, and I think E is the worst. Pretty sure that's the case. Anyway, let's equip this, because this is something we're going to be using for a little while. And I do kind of like the moveset on this. Just standard slashes, but the heavy attack is a straight thrust, which gives a little bit of extra reach, so it can be pretty useful. But before we wrap up, there is one more thing I want to do, and that is actually in the new Londo Ruins this time. So again, I'll head back down that way. Alrighty, so this is going to involve another run into death territory. Because there is something useful here that we can get. Although I think there's something in here as well. Transient Curse. Now those are actually for this area, but we're not going to worry about that yet. Also check out the frame rate drop over here. Pretty great, right? Probably can't even tell. Much more noticeable when we're actually moving, but anyway. Yes, it's right there. You see that glow over there? That's what we're going for. Let's get these out, by the way. Alright, time to run. Again, get used to running. There's going to be a lot of running in these opening segments. It's over here, I believe. Yep, that's it. Careful. Go straight. Firekeeper Soul, that's what we're after, and immediately Homeward Bone. Now, you may be wondering, what do we do with this Firekeeper Soul? Well, if we look at it in the menus, actually, here it is. It says boost the power of Estus Flasks. First time I played this game, I was confused and thought I had to use it. No, you don't. Don't use it. That's a bad idea. Instead, you want to actually give it to a Firekeeper, like this lady down here. And this is how you reinforce your Estus Flask. What this does is, now you can see, it's Estus Flask +1 down there. So what that means is it'll heal slightly more health, which is pretty nice. But anyway, I think we might just leave it off here for now. Next time I'm gonna do something very, very unorthodox that you really, really, really shouldn't do at the start of the game, and it's gonna be hilarious and terrifying. But, yeah, so yeah, this is Dark Souls. It's a game. And it's a game I rather like, so I hope you'll stick around and see some more parts or whatever. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you around.